Hey, what's lasting, everybody? Chris back with CAC Knives here with another knife review / knife overview. Before we get into the video today, if you could help out the channel a lot by liking this video, leaving a comment down below to tell me what you think, and subscribing to the channel if you like this kind of content, I would really appreciate it. Today, we have kind of a mixture of a few things here going on. We have the Hogue Deka in Flytanium kaleidoscope scales. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm probably not, but they're these beautiful anodized scales that Flytanium still does for some scales for some knives. I don't think they do it for the Deka anymore, but this is also a special edition Hogue Deka that was a Blade HQ exclusive. It originally came in Ultem scales, but this is the one with the Magnacut blade, which is pretty awesome. That DLC coated Magnacut blade and gold anodized thumb studs. It is on a axis style lock or a crossbar lock. It has a million names now because every company has to name theirs something different, is why it has so many companies or so many names. But yeah, the Hogue Deka is made in America. At least the base knife is, right? Hogue is a US company. They make a lot of things for guns and stuff like that. But these scales are from the Flytanium company, and they are made in China, I think. I don't know if just the titanium's made in China and then they do the anodized work in America. Flytanium is an American company itself, but I'm pretty sure most of their aftermarket parts, all their parts and stuff, at least come from China. I don't know if they're anodized to China, but they come from China. So, yeah. The Hogue Deka is not a knife that needs too much talking about. We're kind of going to go over this specific version a little bit today. But, you know, with the new scales and customization and everything, it's not really the base model, so I can't say much on that. Here is the Civivi Elementum, or more specifically, the Helamentum, the Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive one that's still available. I have not done a full review on that, but I did do an unboxing on it there a little while ago, if you want to go check that out. And this is the Dimco 8020.5 here. Let's bring out the Kaiser Drop Bear 2, this green, gold, and red crystallized tie version that I think is still available on White Mountain Knives, if you like that one. And then this one you'd only be able to get on the secondary here. This is the Ontario Rat 1.5 and Magnacut as well. Thought it'd be fitting to bring it out for this size comparison of the video. Seeing as we have two Magnacuts here. This was the 80s camo carbon exclusive with all the ripples in the camo carbon. Pretty freaking sweet knife. I do like that one. These two knives honestly are about the same size. The Ontario Rat 1.5 is kind of a perfect EDC size, because they made the Rat 1, which was huge, the Rat 2, which was little, and then they made this one in between, and honestly the in-between one is the best size in my opinion. But yeah, let's go ahead into my 5 key points for knives. I pretty much do it in all my reviews, and I rate in each category out of 10. And like I said, considering this is not a base model and it is kind of customized with these aftermarket scales, it's not going to be fully accurate on any Hogue Deka that you would get, probably, because this has been taken apart and re-put back together. Not to mention, these titanium scales are actually a little bit larger than the ones that come on the original knife. Let's see if I have them. I do have the original scales right here. Let's see how significant of a difference the size of the scale actually is, because that also does matter in terms of how functional the knife is. And as you can see, these scales are a little bit longer. They're not a significant amount longer, but as you can see, there's probably a good ½ inch at least added to the scales, and that does matter. That's why you're seeing the thumb stud be a little bit further back than normal, and that's why you're seeing it be a little bit more difficult for me to deploy, because you got to think these thumb studs would actually be more like right here-ish. They'd be back this way a ½ inch, and to me that doesn't matter. So you have to take things like that into account as well. But I actually like that the scales are a little bit bigger. It gives your hand even more room to grab the knife, right? But we're going to keep all these things in mind when we review it. Now the fit and finish, obviously, it's a Hogue Deka. This knife has superb fit and finish. Awesome, awesome knife. The scales, fit and finish are top notch as well. Anything from Flytanium that I have ever received or ever seen in person has been top notch, and I have no issues. The clip, of course, works very well, and the clip may also be DLC coated. I don't know. The coating looks the same as the blade, but I may be wrong on that. It might just be PVD coated. So I would give it a 10 out of 10 for the fit and finish. Price from the materials and the work. Well, that's going to be kind of hard to judge, isn't it? The original Hogue Deka with those Ultem scales, I believe, was $200, $210, something like that. And, you know, Magnacut's pretty expensive blade material. So it is a top-notch super steel, so you're going to be paying a lot for Magnacut. The Hogue is made in the United States. That heavily influences the price, right? And, you know, actual Ultem scales, not PEI, not whatever all the other companies use, actually from the Ultem company, you know, that also matters into the price. So I would say, you know, if this was $200, $210 for the base, it was about right. Now these scales here, now for a set of scales, I don't know if it's just one scale or the whole set of scales, but we're just going to assume it's the set. For a set of scales for the bench-made bug out, for titanium scales in this finish, costs about 140 bucks. So, you know, keeping that in mind, this knife would cost, let's just say this knife would cost $340. Well, I was able to buy it for $300 shipped, with no taxes, because I bought it on the secondary, of course. This isn't a knife you can get on any website anymore. You couldn't get this knife in this exact configuration straight from a website. You would have had to buy the base knife from Blade HQ, and you'd had to buy the scales from Flytanium. But if you did all that, originally this knife would have cost at least $340. So $340, you're getting heavily customized full titanium scales in a very unique finish that I have not seen anywhere else. And you are also getting Magnacut, a DLC coated Magnacut blade on a knife that was made in the United States with Ultem scales. Me personally, I would say if you paid, you know, I'm just sitting here thinking how much Spyderco or Benchmade would charge for this as a base price. Could you imagine this on a Benchmade? Benchmade would charge 500 plus for something like this. Spyderco, probably about the same. So when we're looking at the direct competitors of Hogue, which are, you know, USA mass-produced knives, because the Hogue Deka is mass-produced, I would say this knife's priced pretty well, even with the add-on scales, right? I'm just thinking what a Benchmade bug out in Magnacut and, you know, polished Ultem scales would cost. That they would probably cost at least $300, and then you'd have to pay another $150, so they would be at $450. So this knife is probably $100 off its competitors. So yeah, I would say price for the materials and the work, definitely 10 out of 10 for that. Smooth action and fidgetivity. Well, I think in the disassembly it lost a little bit of its action because, I mean, I could take it apart, but I'm not a huge fan of messing with locks like this, so I'm not going to take it apart. It's a little sticky. I'm not going to say it's really sticky, but it's a little sticky. Could definitely be better. So I think personally, though, and in my experience, when you add titanium scales to a knife that has a Axis style lock, but it didn't have titanium scales to begin with, the action is always dropped a little bit. And it's not just done it for this knife, it's done it for other knives that I've owned, and that is just how the knife is. But I will dock it half a point for the stickiness and give it a 9.5 out of 10. it's still very easy to manipulate. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's hard to open. It's not hard to close. It just doesn't, you gotta kind of give it a good kick to get it to shut. And that's why I'm docking it half a point. So yeah, we'll go 9.5 out of 10 for that. Is it easy to carry, and is it lightweight? Oh yes, very easy to carry. You know, these scales were heavily milled, which you're not really going to be able to see on the camera, but they're heavily milled in there, the custom scales, which brings the weight down a lot. I'm sure the weight of the original knife was insanely light, considering it was Ultem. But yeah, I mean, the knife's pretty much a perfect EDC size knife. We bring back out the Civivi Elementum here, and it's a little bit bigger than the Elementum, a lot thinner than the Elementum, I will say that, at least this version of the Elementum anyway. And yeah, I would say it weighs about right. Let's bring the Rat 1.5 back out. Granted, it doesn't have milled scales in there, but the Rat 1.5 definitely weighs more than the Deka, and they're about the same size. So what does that tell you? That thing's in camo carbon, and this is in full titanium. So there you go. So yeah, I would say 10 out of 10 for easy to carry and lightweight. The pocket clip works really well also. And there I go hitting the camera, as I'm famous for doing, right? Easy to maintain, clean, and sharpen. Well, like I said earlier, when you're always dealing with this Axis style lock, that's always going to be a little bit of a pain because you got springs in here on both sides. I actually like Axis style locks. I know they've kind of been overused because so many companies use them. But I actually really like them because, for one, they're ambidextrous, even though with these scales, it's not ambidextrous. But, you know, with the original scales, this knife was ambidextrous. But not just that, it's pretty good lockup as long as the springs don't ever break, which hopefully they won't. And companies like Hogue will send you replacement springs. But how hard are they going to be to put in? Well, you know, this knife does have actually quite a bit of hardware. It has 3 body screws and then the pivot, of course. And if we compare that to, you know, other knives that aren't the Rat, like the Elementum here, only has 2 body screws and has the 1 pivot screw on the other side. And you know, you bring the Kaiser drop bear back out. See, they did this one right, and they added the holes there to switch this pocket clip over there, because it also has a kind of clutch style lock, but they also only have 2 body screws. Though I am kind of seeing, if the pocket clip was on this side and you want to take this scale off, you would have to remove those as well to remove the titanium from the liner. So maybe that would be more difficult than this. Maybe that was a bad example. But yeah, 3 screws for the body, probably a little overkill with the pivot, but that's okay. I think all the Hogue Dekas are made this way. But I'm pretty sure they're T6. And that is an issue. And let's see if I'm wrong. Actually, you know what? They may be T8. You know what? They are T8. Wow. T8 screws. Okay, never mind. Points for you, Hogue, for using T8 body screws. Heck yeah. I thought those, you know, looked a little small for T6. T6s are here on the Rat. Yeah, those are T8s. Good job, Hogue. So actually, you know what? Since those are T8s, that's going to help. And I'm just going to dock it half a point for the locking system, because trust me when I say it's a little bit more of a pain to deal with. It's not the knife's fault. It's just, it is what it is, right? As opposed to taking apart a liner lock, you're going to have to deal with springs, which you don't have to deal with the liner lock, right? So overall, I would say this is pretty much a perfect knife. There's not really any flaws with it. I do say this a lot about knives that I get, but that's because I don't generally choose junk knives, right? I choose good ones to add to my collection that are perfect or dang near perfect. It's hard to argue that. I'm not somebody like Metal Complex that pretty much just gets everything from all kinds of companies for free. So everything that you ever see on my channel are things that I have always paid for with my own money, and that's why I only get things that I plan to add to the collection. except every now and then when I get a knife from like a friend or something, or I get knives for Christmas or something like that, right? But yeah, anyway, that's going to do it for today, guys. What do you guys think of this knife? If you want to see more like it, please subscribe to the channel. As you can see, I got plenty of cool, unique knives. I would say my knife collection is one of the most, if not the most, unique knife collections that exist. I will hopefully be doing a full collection update, which will have things that you guys haven't even seen in unboxings yet, because I have like 20 unboxing videos on my phone, and I try to save content that way I can post a couple videos a week, but you will see them in the full collection video. Subscribe to the channel not to miss that. I'll be doing it within the next month, so yeah, that'll be a fun one to do. It takes me about an hour, but it's definitely worth it to get all these cool knives out on the table. But yeah, with that, I'll leave you guys to the rest of your day. Thanks for watching.